Okay, Mercury Station takes place in two time frames. It basically is about some prisoners who are on a prison which is called a borstal. It's for adolescent kids, except they're now 37 years old because space has collapsed and they're stuck in this prison. It's controlled by a computer and they can't really get out. So my prisoners they're actually Irish Republican rebels, except Ireland and England are both gone, but they're still fighting on. And they time travel, or they try to time travel to escape from this prison and carry the fight back into the past against English hegemony. But it's a very confusing kind of time travel. And the character in the Middle Ages, into which one of them, you're not sure which, I won't spoil it, enters, can't even remember where she came from. She just knows that she's sort of a pilgrim and a wanderer. So I thought I'd read two very short sections that show you the two sides of the book, since we're talking about mingling genres today. The first is from the future. The narrator is a chap named Eddie Ryan, and this is his description of the place he is currently in prison. This chapter is called Me and My Bed Sphere. My bed sphere and me haven't met before, though in a way, of course, we're old friends. All bed spheres are pretty much interchangeable in space. All feel something, as this one does, like a tent. They have to be versatile. The police should be able to transport them easily without the prisoner ever knowing he's been moved. They should be able to be exposed to the surface of an inhabitable planet and thrust down into the belly of an asteroid. They should be convertible to private hollow bordello suites and/or total surveillance spheres. When need be, they must serve as prisons of their own. Most of the latter variety are more bare bones than this one, of course. There's usually no jug of fresh flowers as there is here every day, no plants oxygenating from the ceiling. Teaching avatars do not usually walk about and answer the odd question like a B-movie rendition of an ancient sage. A tasteful burgundy rug is tossed on the 5-meter diameter flat half-sphere floor. I have a comfortable lunar silica throw blanket to wrap around me here as I write. Yet ideally, this bed sphere is itself the set of all bed spheres. The same aluminum alloyed shell supports the same quasi-crystal magic glass. The bunk is set tight up against the usual rank of invisible instruments. The toilet is down a curling ramp in the floor, very convenient if nature calls too soon. The claim to fame here is that the domed magic ceiling reveals space, open space, free space, deep space to my eye. It's awe-inspiring. You're meant to feel something like a cowboy must have felt on Earth back in the day when the moon went down on the range, like Huck and Jim on the raft heading south to New Orleans. Is it really free space? Is that what you really see just outside my cell? In your bed sphere, I hate to say it, it's impossible to be sure. The gravity here feels Merc-like, and I've been trained to test if the sphere is spinning to simulate it. Right now, we're looking at a right peculiar alien patch of the Milky Way, out towards the stars of Draco's jaw. The Milky Way is particularly winsome today, revealing all her charms. I have to wonder if Mercury hasn't been up to something to bring her out. Either way, it's impossible for me to know for sure. I'm a prisoner and my 7 superstitions have been stripped from me, including, though the little map by the sealed hatch pretends otherwise, the right of location. Still, one can never be sure except of what the bed sphere wants you to see. I've heard of the admin level infirmary bed spheres, and this one matches up to the description. Back in the day, Blish Bailey broke an arm punching a wall after he lost to me in chess. Bones get brittle out here. The ordinary inmate infirmary spheres, for whatever reason, were not available, and being the kiss-ass he was, Mr. Bailey stayed in an admin-level infirmary bed sphere. This very one, perhaps, for Mr. Bailey reported that... All right, this is from the character in the Middle Ages is just known as the creature, or this creature. She's telling her own story. And this is the first chapter. It's called Her Arrival. First chapter of her first section. It gets more medieval as she starts to learn about the world. This part is sort of more haphazard impressions of just coming to Earth. Lightning broke the corpse's death. Immediate crack up. Let's write this here in invisible ink, shall we? Thunders peal, sending the dark-robed one scattering into... Okay, let's, but why? What do you want it to say? The rainy darkness. That this is not me, that where the rain sounded all around. Here, right now, not tied together on that pole, Inside him took brain, and then in time, through time, Lady Skaw's little witch stuck in Prussia, 1350, C conceived. Corey, can you really hear me? This is not you, spirit found flesh, a picture flag curled up into air. I can hear you, Eddie Ryan, and you're wrong, it is me. A trailing pain rose up, aching ears dull, eyes cold. I'm there on Earth, you're alive on Mercury, nose straight of moderate length, breath raw, real. The no chest heaved, this creature came to life, stopped writing, and was confounded, bound by tearing rope, bedeviled by enormous feathered feeding beaks tearing away flesh, flesh the clothing of mind, mind the traveler, here left beasts or birds tear her little body away. Mind? Mind pulled brain to make a body a wild rage. Mind tore the shrieking things off, flapping on her. These birds fought hard, for they believed theirs was the rightful claim. Even in the rain that came down, they fought this creature for the little body. She blinked. Within her mind, observer one, say, Lady C herself, could already reflect and with some attention win this fight and drive the beast away. Yet even so, the others must work here now with this body. She drove them away, down into the void below her. Below her, rain fell up, water trickled down, and she herself was receiving it the wrong way. Yet this was correct. Small and tight, actually. She was walking on the air, high above the snow-white sky, her feet strained, cut by the rope that bound them. Looking up then on the grass, her view came together in the whole of nature. She saw herself as she was and saw the ground of possibilities spreading out around the stake to which she was fixed. And she saw, seeing that the green hairs of the earth she looked above were marked with the imprint of a perfect mind. The ground was stamped as with an arithmetical rose, as if from out of her forehead. Six-fold symmetry, a complexity this creature would have been unable to remember. She understood were it not presented thusly to her in its perfection. The conception moved downward through her mind, clearing out and reorganizing its own bodies, circles curling into circles, and the pole to which she was tied marking the center. There came then a voice. The essential understanding of these human calls was now given, even before she understood. For that was the very peculiarity of it. The speaking happened outside of ordinary time, but within it as well. She understood as if from a mind that touched upon another time in which she herself understood the words cross-circle. The voice spoke out in her head, quite as if there was another sort of sense, a kind of extra hearing that opened up some other entirely different perspective on what was occurring in the current field, and she was remembering something occurring elsewhere. A face pale with worry and dark with pain upon a stone. The eyes she looked into, too terrible to know. A second body around the corner. Brain twitched to feel its warmth, noting the tiny shocks flashing golden needles down along the spine, falling like bright burning sparks down along the groin, up into orifices, up into the ducts of this creature's eyes. Pain, and she writhed in fear of it. As she did, the obscene stink of the body she wore came up from within her nostrils, an other's taste. Rage from deep in her throat forced her twisting upon the pole to which she was bound. She vomited foul bile. Sounds such as could break a mind came shrieking from her corpse's throat. The rain ceased. A voice. Do I hold your hand? And a hand holding itself. Her heart leaping to feel it. Her mind followed the complications in her heart like a flower to heal her own body with its fires. She fancied she stood before this other, her beloved. Her beloved did not speak with her. Now as the gentle one knelt there, part of the tunic came up, revealing to this creature a slice of visible body. Under the hose of her beloved, without a proper belt, you see, there stretched only a leathern thong, and from the crack in her clothes there burst no buttocks, but the whitest, most purest light this creature had ever seen, and it was indeed only light. This was a being, remembered this creature, of pure light, shed of the dross of matter. She found that the great pillows below her bloody feet had parted above a yellow-green. An eggshell blue emerged hollow and deep below her head. I can slip these bonds, the other thought, and step down from out of this creature's form. They fell, released from the pole. And then she was yanked to feet by her arm. A youth, golden-haired and lithe, shining with heaven's light, stepped lightly through this creature's body. She turned to face it, but could not see. A hand passed through the ether and smacked hard into her chest. She fell backwards, forced down by this radiant angel upon the ground. She was there, and her beloved was gone.